Thank you so much for tuning in to She's All Over the Place with Kiriaki. That's me.
And I'm your co-host for this episode, Alessandra Levy.
Today I have a very special guest. His name is Brendan Rue, and he is the CEO of Santa Cruz Medicinals. And we're so happy to have him here today. So everyone, welcome Brendan.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. I'm really excited to dive into some health and wellness topics. And
Yes.
yeah, I mean, we've known you for a while, so it's cool to kind of see this come full circle.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. As someone who's also used the products before, I've made some videos for you, but also then went back and was like, I'm purchasing everything because I need all of these things and I love them. So I'm just super excited to dive into it with you. And thanks so much for being on. So first things first, I know who you are. I know all about you because I follow you and we know each other. But for the listener out there, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself. Give us a background on you.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Brendan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Santa Cruz Medicinals and Santa Cruz Paleo. And we've sort of evolved over the years. We started out as just a CBD company making potent CBD formulas based on all the research behind CBD showing that you need to take a potent dose of CBD for it to actually do anything. My co-founder was working in a cannabis lab and on that whole side of things, and he was telling me all this data around CBD. And we started with a really potent CBD coconut oil because I'm not really for eating processed sugar or gummies, which is a common form of CBD, which I'm just not a fan of. And we started giving this product to athletes, just my mom, my grandma, stuff like that. And it really just took off. People saying how much it helped their pain, stuff like that. And so we evolved the first company, Santa Cruz Medicinals, out of that. And then I got way more into the content side of things, which I'm sure you've seen, just diving deep into health and wellness. I got my degree in medical anthropology from UC Santa Cruz. And from there, I started to really think critically about, okay, I'm studying all these tribes and how they ate, how they lived. And there's something that can be learned from there, something significant. And that combined with just the modern science we have on nutrition, exercise, all that type of stuff, I sort of try to combine those both into my content. So that's what I've been really focused on lately.
That's amazing. And so, yeah, I was going to ask, like, how did you get into health and wellness? But it seems like this is something you studied. So, has this
Yeah.
been something that's been something that's been of interest to you forever? Or take us through sort of maybe how you made a shift?
Absolutely. So I've always been interested in health and wellness when it comes to sport. When I grew up, I played a lot of sports. I was always interested in that. So I've always been sort of interested in athletics. And
Hmm.
then when I started studying anthropology at UC Santa Cruz, a light clicked in my head when I was trying to solve some of my own health issues,
Hmm.
gut issues, eczema, skin issues, just tired, not feeling great. I was like, oh, maybe I'm just getting older, but I'm not. I'm like early 20s at this point or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
20 years old. I'm like, this isn't right. And I
Yeah.
remember we had a class, and the professor was describing how grains, in the grand scheme of human history, 2.5 million years ago, we had hominids, Homo
Hmm.
habilis, Homo erectus. They were not eating grains. And we get to Homo sapien 300,000 years ago, still no grains. 300,000 years ago until just about 11,000 years ago is when we started eating grains. And the professor was talking about just detailing for us the timeline there. He's like, if you had a football field for 99 yards of that football field, nobody ate grains as a source of nutrition. And it just started all this Googling and research and reading PubMed
Yeah.
papers and all that because I'm like, what is going on? Every time I go to a doctor, they go, eat more grains. Our food
Right.
pyramid, it says you should make up most of your diet with grain.
Right.
And it really,
You're like, wait a minute, this
yeah,
pyramid must be like upside down or something.
yeah, it started with a very basic question, which is like,
Mm.
how did we evolve like this? And why are there current tribes today that don't eat any grain and they have
Mm.
amazing health markers? Now, of course, modern medicine's amazing. If they break a leg, they're in some,
Mm.
serious issues.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how is this possible that there's people that aren't eating any grain and they're extremely healthy looking and we're not looking that great? And of course,
Mm.
once you start researching that, it leads you down the ancestral health rabbit hole. And that is how I sort of view the world today.
Mm, I love that. So ancestral diets, meaning like if you're looking at where your family is from, you might think of like what are the foods that they would be eating in that region? Is that what you mean by that?
So that is what a lot of people think when I say ancestral diets. They go, "What did my grandma eat? What did my
Mm.
grandpa eat?" What I'm referring to is what have human beings
Mm.
ate and how did they live for the vast majority of time that we've been on Earth. Only in the last 1,000 years or so, and even the foods that we eat today have only been introduced in the last 60 to 80 years.
Yeah.
Procter and Gamble inventing seed oils, which is in every food,
Mm-hmm.
processed sugar, other processed foods. These are only about 50 to 60 years old. So
Mm.
when a human being starts to eat a diet that we've consumed for millions of years, our bodies evolve to different things. They
Yeah.
evolve to different stimuli. So right now we are probably evolving to work better with technology. Our eyes are probably adapting to look at a computer screen. And over the next 100,000 years, our bodies will evolve to that. But
Mm.
where we're at with human health is we have this reward system, which I call the primal reward system, which in my belief is around eating certain foods,
Mm-hmm.
doing certain things. And we know some of this intuitively. When you light a nice campfire and you sit by the campfire, why is this relaxing? You obviously don't need that. You know, there's a hotel near you where you can be warm. Why is that
Mm-hmm.
relaxing? It's deeply encoded in our genetics to have that. And I also believe that foods that are often demonized, like red meat or
Mm-hmm.
eggs or animal fats, are heavily demonized. But the reality is we've evolved to eat those foods and they're
Mm.
very healthy for us.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. I love that. I'm learning so much.
Mhm.
So to kind of go back to what you were saying when you first introducing yourself, you were talking about CBD and how you had sort of learned about it and sort of, like you said, went on a deep dive about what are the benefits and why people should be using it or why it would be a good idea for some folks to use it. I'm curious what made you want to use it because I know you also use it, you use your products.
Oh, yeah.
So what made you initially want to start using it? And then of course what made you then say, well, I need to create my own?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, so it started with the reading the research papers on CBD. My co-founder
Hmm.
came to me and he's like, "Hey, look at this. This is really interesting." And there's all these really good papers on CBD and anxiety, cortisol function, which is our stress hormone,
Mm-hmm.
other inflammatory pathways, inflammatory biomarkers, pain, sleep benefits.
Hmm.
Almost all those studies use usually a couple hundred milligrams, minimum 100 milligrams per day. And
Hmm.
then so when we went to the local store in Santa Cruz and looked at CBD products, we could not find that dosage even in the whole bottle sometimes.
Yeah.
We're like, well, what's going on? So then we actually
Yeah. Yeah.
we actually left there going, oh, it must be impossible. It must just be way too expensive. Then we looked into it because we
Right.
have access to all this stuff, working in the
Hmm.
cannabis industry in Santa Cruz. And we're like, it's not. We could
Hmm.
go direct to consumer and offer an 1,000 milligram product where like 2 scoops of it's 100 milligrams, and let's try that out. So that is what led to that product. Now I take CBD today for its sleep benefits, and injury. I get little injuries. I do jujitsu. I surf. I mountain bike. Whatever it is, I pick up little
Hmm.
injuries, and I love CBD for helping me with those. I don't. I'm not. Luckily, I'm not on the anxiety or stress side. Stress sometimes, but I'm not on the
Hmm.
anxiety side of things. But that's another
Hmm.
really, really common use for it. And like our best selling products are calm caps, the deep sleep
Hmm.
capsules. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah, so that kind of answers my next question, which is like what makes, Santa Cruz Medicinal special? And it really is the fact that you are providing folks with a large dosage, but it's not going to take up the whole bottle like you said, because you're right. Before I came across you all, I remember there was some where it just had like 1,500 milligrams in the whole bottle and the bottle would be like $80 and I'm like,
Yeah,
ooh, this is an expensive habit. I mean, I don't drink, I don't do, I don't,
yeah,
I'm not really into drugs or drinking,
yep.
but it's like for me, that was sort of the thing that I was like, I want to spend money on because I do deal with the high cortisol and the stress and the anxiety
Hmm.
um, from time to time. And also, like you said, with pain things, I have celiac disease. So, I mean, thankfully I don't really ever have like what I call being glutened because I mostly cook all my food.
Hmm.
And I'm really cautious about what I have in my house. But on the off chance that I ever did, like something like CBD would help the pain in the stomach or whatever, a
Absolutely.
headache, because, you'll get like brain fog and that'll help the headache. But yeah, like I said, I would just sort of try to find something that had a high dose. And I was like, okay, this is for the whole bottle. Like that's not a lot at all. And you're spending so much money. So
Hmm.
I, that answered my question, like what makes you guys so special? And that's really what it is. It's like you're providing high quality CBD and your tinctures, and also you're getting a lot in the bottle.
Absolutely. And, the only way to do that is really going direct to consumer. And like,
Mm,
you'll see here, like we package almost all of our products, unless it's literally prohibitive to do,
mhm,
in glass.
mhm,
So that's another big thing. I mean, just every little step with it. I mean, we didn't create this company to make money. We just created it to get really good formulas out there,
mm,
and going into it with a different lens, and also going direct to consumer. Because if
mhm,
we were to go sell this to Target or Whole Foods, and that's a lot of companies' goal, they're going to want
mhm.
that for half off. We can't
Right.
even do that. Like we're already passing that margin off to our customers. So that's been a big thing. And
Mhm,
then with Santa Cruz Paleo, we obviously wanted to make some formulas that don't have CBD in them, for
mhm.
people that are under 18 or people that just don't want CBD. So now we have like a grass-fed, grass-finished beef protein. We have beef tallow. We make, mold and heavy metal tested creatine capsules.
Wow.
We're just trying to make the best things. And honestly, how these products usually start is I want a certain formula to take,
Mm,
and I can build it and mess around with it, and I can source
yeah.
everything. I just love nerding out on that. Like
Yeah.
we have this food of the gods formula, and this is literally just messing around with all these ingredients that I love, getting the right
Mm.
forms and dosages of the ingredients, trying different formulas, and then releasing something that I love. And yeah, people seem to like that one.
That's amazing. And that reminds me too, like coming from a music background and, being a performer and a creative, it reminds me of like when I talk to my musician friends, or when you watch documentaries or you look at interviews of like your heroes, your musical heroes, your creative icons, and they're like, I was just creating the art that I wanted. And then like thankfully other people loved it. So
Yep.
that's such an interesting and amazing correlation that it's like you're sort of like, hey, I'm not seeing these things that I want on the market. Well, I have I have the access to make it. And
Exactly.
like you said earlier, you're not making things that are filled with other like fillers and things that aren't going to be helpful to you. Especially when you're talking about lowering inflammation with CBD or things like that. You're not going to put
Yep.
in things in it that are going to, exacerbate any
Exactly.
inflammation. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but
No, no.
the supplement world is a crazy, crazy place.
Yeah.
And one thing, like for example, with our protein, we have no fillers, binders, anti-caking agents, and
Mhm.
it is a conversation that sometimes you have when you're about to release, like our protein, for example. Most protein powders use so many anti-caking agents because they want that protein. When you put it in water, it's almost starting to dissolve already. But
Mm.
how is protein packaged by nature? It's packaged in meat, in eggs,
Mm.
in fish. There is no protein packaged in nature that just, oh, it's going to instantly dissolve into water. That
Right.
takes some insane chemicals. And, like
Yeah.
me personally, I don't want to ingest an anti caking agent because it's not healthy. And all these gums, fillers,
Mhm.
binders, you'll see
Mhm.
ingredients like carrageenan, gellan gum, guar gum in so many proteins. We
Mhm.
decided to make one without that. And yeah, I would say 1 out of 50 customers that maybe they don't know us, they go, hey, I put this protein in water and I shake it a little bit. It doesn't shake up right away. It's like, sorry, you have to blend it up or you have to shake
Yeah,
it
put it in
really
a
well.
blender.
Yeah, throw it in the blender. It blends in perfectly. But, this is how we've been
Mm.
trained as consumers. A lot of the pre-workout formulas that are out there, they are, bright blue or bright red, and they're
Yellow,
dyed.
yeah.
Yeah, they're dyed with artificial food dyes,
Mhm.
which have been linked to issues.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
we make a pre-workout with that food of the gods. It's in a capsule form. It doesn't have any, artificial sweeteners, artificial food dyes. So it has taken a lot of education and developing this community that's interested in some of those things to
Yeah.
get our products to. We need to get them to the right people, right? If you
Mhm.
don't understand that there's a benefit to having a protein that doesn't instantly dissolve in water,
Mhm. Right.
then you're gonna like ours. If you want it to,
Yeah.
be full of anti-cake agents and just kind of dissolve in water right away, then it might not be your jam.
Right. Yeah, so you're really trying to find your people, the people that are going to be like, "Hey, I'm on this mission with you. I really appreciate what you're trying to do." And I do love that it came from a place of sort of you seeing a need for it. You're kind of seeing this empty hole in the industry of going, "Hmm, there's an entire part of the industry that's not following sort of like what you're saying. You want pure ingredients, you want things that are fresh, you want things that are not going to have all these other things involved in it, especially like you're saying with supplements, right? When you look at supplements, sometimes it has like all these other ingredients in it. You're like, what are these things?
Hmm.
So I think that's really great that you sort of found the void and was like, well, I'm going to fill it with the things that I think are going to be useful and helpful and sort of make it sort of the purest form. And like you said before, you're doing directly to us, not through another party. That way it's not going to be breaking the bank, which I think
Exactly.
is really great. And so on a day to day, I'd love to know, I mean, obviously every day it's going to be different, right? Because you were saying sometimes you might have an injury, you might need to put some CBD salve on yourself or take a pill. But just like generally your day to day, I'd love to know all the products that you're
Yeah,
using. Yeah.
absolutely. I can take you through my day yesterday.
Yeah.
Easy.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, so I wake up and I have bone broth with a little bit of grass-fed ghee in there. So that's not, we don't sell either of those, but that's how I like to get the day going. Just
Mhm.
bone broth, ghee, some salt. And then what I do is I have one of our protein shakes. And how I like to make our protein shake is a little coconut milk. And then I put a little water. So it's kind of like watered down coconut milk. So I have like a
Mhm.
thick canned coconut milk. And then I put a banana. I put an egg yolk because egg yolks are great. And then I think I had our horchata protein yesterday. I'm
Mm.
rocking the horchata and the all natural lately. I'm like out of the chocolate. I should probably grab one. Um, and then I take our creatine capsules from Santa Cruz Paleo because creatine is amazing. I'm sure you've heard of it, and a lot of
Mhm.
people think of it as like a muscle supplement. Oh, you're going to get like big muscles from it. Creatine is actually amazing for brain health,
Mm.
focus, word retention, Alzheimer's prevention. So I take
Mm.
our creatine capsules, and yesterday I took our adaptogenic mushroom capsules because there's cordyceps, reishi, and lion's mane in there, and I was about to go hit a workout. Cordyceps is such an amazing, like, if somebody's listening to this, even if they don't want to try ours, go get cordyceps and take it before a workout because
Mm.
there's a lot of really good studies on it improving your muscle endurance, your cardiovascular threshold. So it's really cool. Then I
Cool.
took Food of the Gods pre-workout, which I always take. I hit the gym, and then after that, I'm eating, and I eat a lot of red meat. I think if
Mhm.
anybody follows me on Instagram, they'll know that. And so I'm eating like steak and blueberries, which I love, meat and fruit.
Mm.
Love it so much. Um, and then yeah, I mean, another thing I do always in the evening is sauna. I love
Mhm.
the sauna so much that I bought a sauna and put it in my backyard. Like I love it. Especially it's
Awesome.
kind of it's I'd say it's cold here in NorCal. Some people are like, you don't know what cold is. I'm in,
I know it's
Canada.
been a little chilly lately. It's
Yeah,
been a little. I'm from New York, but like it's been in the high 40s at night, and I'm like I'm chilly.
that's good to hear
Meanwhile,
because my mom's from the East Coast.
yeah.
Whenever I say it's cold, she tells me the same story of her hair would freeze walking to school. I'm like,
Oh, I remember waiting at the bus stop and being like, my hair is gonna break off right now. It's
yeah,
like frozen.
yeah, I can't do that.
That's really funny, and that's awesome. So like throughout the day, you're really using your products,
Oh yeah.
and are you also using? I mean, you said a few things with CBD, but do you use it like before you go to bed, or if you feel like you're a little maybe like you did a workout and you're like still super amped up, you gotta like kind of wind down for the night?
Yeah, every single evening for the last couple of years, I take our magnesium capsules and our
Mm.
deep sleep capsules in the evening. I like to take them about 45 minutes before bed. I take 2 deep sleep, 2 or 3 magnesium, depending on how hard of a workout I had that day. And again, another supplement, for anybody listening to this, even if you don't get ours, look into magnesium glycinate and magnesium L-threonate's another good form. We combine those two in ours, but magnesium
Mm.
glycinate's a super affordable option for anybody out
Cool.
there. 70% of Americans are deficient in magnesium out of a
Hmm.
2019 study. I think that number is even higher than that, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, magnesium glycinate is such a good supplement. So I take those two every single night. And yeah, I mean, back when we had less SKUs, I used to be able to say I use every single one of our products every day. But
Right.
now we have like 60 something SKUs. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this one, for example, our beef tallow. This is
Mm.
another thing. I don't know if you've heard of beef tallow skincare.
No, I haven't.
This is the only thing I use on my face as a moisturizer. It's
Wow.
non-comedogenic. It's rated as a 0 out of 5 on the comedogenic scale. Even like other, jojoba oil and stuff that's common is
Mm.
rated as a 1 or 2. So it's the least comedogenic oil, and it's a fat. It's beef
Mm.
fat. It's very similar to our skin's natural oil. It's really rich in vitamins,
So it's not
and
gonna clog your pores. That's what you mean, right?
no, it's
Mm.
amazing. And I every single day I use that as my only skin moisturizer. That's
Wow.
another thing I post videos on. Like
Yeah.
the skincare industry and the dermatology
Mm.
industry, like a lot of that stuff can be mostly fixed with diet and nutrition.
Mm. Mm.
And a lot of these products, like I did a post on CeraVe, which I know a lot of people love, but there's propylparaben and methylparaben in there.
Mm.
And in their
Right, and we know
version in
parabens are not good. Yeah.
yeah, and there's a lot of studies on parabens, and
Mm.
I'll do these posts on social media, and people will get really. Some people feel attacked, what I'm trying to
Mm.
explain to them is, look, in Europe, that same product doesn't have methylparaben and
Yeah.
propylparaben. Their government has banned parabens because of concerns over health risks. So what happens to these companies manufacturing parabens? They send them to the United States. They get put in our cosmetic products, in our shampoos, in our lotions, and people go, well, a little bit of paraben, whatever. If you are putting on a face lotion with propylparaben and a shampoo with methylparaben and a lotion with isopropylparaben, and it just goes on and on, and
Yeah.
there are serious risks to this. It's an experiment that we're doing on ourselves, and it's not proving to be working out.
Yeah, like if you're doing it every day too in your skin, it's like it's the biggest it's the biggest area of your body to like where you're putting you're putting things on it and in it, like you said, your scalp when you're washing your hair. And it is kind of interesting, and it brings you back to you're talking about you have the thirst and the drive to do research and just kind of dive in and really look at things from all angles. And I do think it's important that consumers, when they are looking at products, see what the products look like, you're saying, in different countries where maybe they
Yeah,
have a little more strict rules health wise. And it is interesting to go, well, they have this in the ketchup in Europe, but
yep.
in here in America, they have this in the ketchup. That's interesting. Why would they not have it in Europe? And then you start to look and you research. And again, it's all just about, I mean, everyone will find their way at some point to just figure out what matters to them, what's important to them, what they want to avoid, what they want to do the research on. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to just even look at it from just a neutral standpoint of like, okay, well, they're using it here, but they're not using it here. What does that mean, and why, and what are those ingredients, and kind of just looking at it from a different angle. I think that's important. I think everyone
Yeah,
should just be living life that way, just being curious, right? It comes from curiosity. It's not so much like, oh, I'm vilifying you for using this, or I'm you don't care if you're using this. It's just, I think it really does come from a place of just curiosity, like, why are they using that there and not here? So I think
absolutely.
that's
I 100% agree, and I'll make this type of content because the way social media works, you have to capture people's attention. So I'll grab a cereal off the grocery store aisle and I'll say, "This is the worst way to start your day." Of course, if of course, if you're a healthy human being and you want to eat cereal once in a while, that's I don't care. Do your thing.
yeah,
It's America. Do what you want.
yeah, yeah.
But the reality is, like the overall statistics, what it's showing is
Hmm.
it's not working out for us, and people aren't using this stuff in moderation. And there's a
Right.
serious problem with the health of our country. We're gonna approach 50% obesity. The
Mm-hmm.
last report was in 2016. It's at 42%. We have 1 out of 10 children reporting that they have depression. We have ADHD numbers that are staggering. We have childhood diabetes numbers that are staggering. 70% of Americans are overweight. So there's something going on here. And then I combine that with, again, my degree in anthropology. We would study these tribes that have
Hmm.
extremely good health. Now, people often like to retort, well, they didn't live as long. Yes, combine modern medicine with ancestral health and you will have amazing health.
Mm.
If I break my arm or if I have a serious virus, I'm going to try to go to Stanford Hospital and get healthcare.
Hmm.
When I go to my doctor here and I say, hey, I feel pretty good, is there anything I can do to improve my health? And they tell me to eat more grains or, doctor approved heart healthy cereal. Well, I have some
Right.
questions about that. I don't think
Yeah,
that's working. So,
yeah.
yeah, that's been my message lately is as human beings, I think the body wants to be healthy. I think it knows how to be healthy. And I
Hmm.
think there's a lot of bad information about there on what foods to eat and what foods to avoid. It's pretty
Yeah,
much backwards of what we've been recommended by our government.
yeah.
So that's something I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think too, it's like combined with that and the products that you're making, you're sort of giving you're giving these products and this platform to kind of show people like, hey, obviously you can't just put a band-aid on it, right? There's root causes, there's you got to get to the root of whatever's going on. But you're also making products that are going to help aid if you're already sort of looking at your lifestyle and trying to live the best, healthiest lifestyle that you can, right? And then your products on top of it are helping even more. You can't just like take the product and not take care of yourself. You have to like kind
Absolutely,
of do do
100%.
it
And
in
like,
tandem. Yeah.
yeah, and like I tell people, like, don't buy any supplements unless you're starting to eat right, work out, get good sleep. These basic pillars of health. Don't buy any
Right.
supplements. There's no need. Once you
Yeah.
start dialing that stuff in and you want to enhance stuff, of course, there's amazing
Right.
supplements you can take. And I think a big thing is, as human beings, we have a biological reward system that is ingrained in us to do physical activity, to lift heavy things, to
Mhm.
move, to
Mhm.
have community, to have bonds with people,
Yeah.
to eat certain foods and get nutrients from certain foods. And if
Mm.
you completely try and separate yourself from those deeply ingrained biological reward systems, you're going to have issues. And I think
Mm.
this is where a lot of this rampant rise in depression, anxiety, all these
Mm.
issues comes from. You can't ignore where you came from as a human being and what is encoded in your brain on how we survive.
Mm.
Up until very recently, no human being survived unless they moved around, unless they had some physical fitness. It
Mhm.
did not happen. Our
Yeah.
ancestors were hunter gatherers for millions of years. It's so deeply encoded within us that to try and separate yourself from that and just go, well, I'm just not going to move at all. I'm just going to watch TV all day. I'm going to smoke a vape. I'm going to drink soda. I'm going to
Mm.
eat this food that didn't exist until 20 years ago.
Right.
And why am I not feeling good? Why is my health not good? You have to do these things. And
Yeah.
it's tough, I know. Like, I went to the gym this morning. I kind of didn't want to go today, but I'm just like, I know this will make me feel better because of
Mhm.
millions of years of genetic coding that if I lift these heavy
Right.
things and I, have some good protein after, I'm going to feel better. So that's really the
Yeah.
message that I'm trying to get through to people is know where you came from as a human being and
Mm.
nourish some of that.
Yeah, I mean, you sometimes you see those silly memes online where it's like we're kind of just a house plant. We need water, we need sun, we need
Yeah.
like we need nutrients. But
Yeah.
it is true. Like sometimes to kind of get back to like you're saying, just get back to the basics, get back to what we were initially doing, right? We're outside, we're moving around, we're getting sun, we're getting nutrients from, around us, the plants and the animals around us. Like just kind of going back to the basics, getting a lot of sleep. I
Hmm.
mean, especially when you're talking about the creatine capsules. I mean, Alzheimer's runs in my family on my mother's side of the family. And for me, I'm determined not to turn that gene on,
Hmm.
because I really prioritize my sleep. I prioritize my brain health. Try to live the best I can. And like you said, going to the gym and taking care of yourself and moving and trying not to be isolated. I know in my case, I think it was also exacerbated for my grandmother because when my grandfather died, she lived another 20 something years just on her own.
Hmm.
And that isolation and, all the things you're talking about, your community, your sleep, uh, you know, your diet, your exercise, all that kind of thing. It's we have the power to um, have our genes express or not.
Absolutely.
We or
It's
or
very
at
true.
least or at least can guide ourselves in the right direction.
Yeah.
Obviously things
Epigenetics.
still happen, but
Yeah, it's true. Epigenetics. A lot of people that I talk to sometimes they'll be like, "Well, I have these genetics, so and they don't even try to fix the issue. When really,
hmm
if they understood epigenetics, it's like you could not even turn on that gene.
right.
Alzheimer's, they're calling it diabetes of the brain. So nutrition
Mm,
is a key factor in
yeah,
Alzheimer's. And like you were saying, the community aspect of just being healthy and having people you can rely on and having people
yeah,
around you is so key. There will be nights
yeah.
where I will go to jiu-jitsu practice where I don't really even want to train jiu-jitsu, but I know that going there, seeing some friends, just,
hmm
attending will make me
yeah,
feel a lot better. And it does, but I think once you know these things, you can kind of just, for lack of a better word, biohack your way into
mm,
feeling pretty good. Life's still going to
yeah,
come at you, but like,
yeah,
you can feel a lot better than you do now for most people.
yeah. That's great. So before we wrap up, I did want to show some of the products that I personally love because you talked about the products that you personally loved. But as you can see, I'm gonna need to put
Oh, you're
another.
almost at MCT oil. Yep. Yeah,
Sometimes
MCT
I'll put
oil
that in
for
a.
yeah, for people listening, medium chain
Yeah.
triglyceride oil. They take coconut oil, they spin it in a centrifuge, they take out the two most easily absorbable layers. So
Mm,
it's such an amazing fat. It's almost like instant energy. Your liver doesn't have to do
yeah.
work to digest it.
Yeah, I'll put that in, I don't drink coffee that often, but if I do, I might put some in there or in like a shake like you were talking about. Although I think I'm gonna have to try your protein powder
Oh, yeah,
because
love it.
yeah, because I'm pretty interested. But yeah, I need to get more of this. That's what I
Yeah.
need to do. But other than that, I'm about to take a trip. Well, I don't know when this is gonna air, but probably it'll air after my trip. But as of right now, I'm taking a trip and I know that jet lag is gonna probably
Hmm.
get me. So I know for sure gonna
Yep.
take
Deep
my
sleep.
deep sleep caps. I'm
Yep.
taking that on vacation. And then the last two that I like for fun, I have the French vanilla, which
Oh
I
yeah.
love.
Yeah.
Another good one
Totally.
in coffee if you drink coffee or a shake. That's maybe more of like a chocolate shake versus like a fruity
Yep.
kind of shake. But then if I do something like fruit, then I have the strawberry.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, yeah, that's why we made all those flavors, and the
Yeah.
deep sleep capsules are amazing. They make such a good gift, especially this holiday season.
Mm,
Like that's always something popular for us. And we formulated those without melatonin. So many people hear of melatonin for
mm,
sleep, and all these sleep supplements are just melatonin based. Melatonin isn't that bad once in a while, but it's a hormone. If you take it every single night, you're going to suppress your body's own production of melatonin, which has drastic consequences for your whole endocrine system, all your
mm.
hormones. So we made those without melatonin. Those are going to stimulate your body's own production of melatonin, so they can be used every night, and you won't feel groggy in the morning. You'll just get
Right.
good sleep. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of those.
Yeah, I probably should have gotten more of these before I go on my trip, but it's okay. I'll use them all up and then I'll have to get some more.
Awesome.
Okay, amazing. So, oh my gosh, we talked about so much. We talked about all your products. We talked about so much more about just how to whew. I'm like, I need a breath after this. We talked about how, there's so many, like you said, the pillars of health, right? Things that people can even just take little steps, right? It doesn't have to be like that's a theme too, right? That we've been talking about, not just with you, but with all my guests. You can start by just making little adjustments. It doesn't have to be like, I gotta like ups, throw my whole life upside down and
Yeah,
it's gonna cost so much money and time and energy. It's like, no, just start slow. Like even if you just like have a sedentary job and you're like, I gotta stand up and stretch or just move and dance every
absolutely.
hour on the hour. Or like for me, I know like I take my dogs for 2 walks a day, but sometimes in the middle of the day when I'm not walking them, I'm like, I'm gonna go take my own mental health walk and I
Yep.
go for a walk and then just making little changes. Or like if you find that you're not drinking enough water and you want to add something in, like even some fruit, like some
Hmm.
squeeze some lemon or lime or whatever, just something to even just get yourself started. Like you can do it in little steps. Taking a nap or trying to go to bed earlier, like you said, you might even start to notice like, wow, I feel better, and then it's going to probably make you want to do more. So
Absolutely.
it's just a slow snowball. It doesn't have to just be all at once, and doesn't have to be 0 to 100. So I think that's something that's important for people to remember too, that they're probably hearing this information and going, whoa, this is a lot to think about.
Yep.
But you know what, just taking one little step at a time, one little action that could probably snowball on its own. You don't have to just go out and change every single thing at once, but at least they know that there are some amazing products out there that they can try to enhance what they're doing on their own. And so I'm just so excited that we got to chat. And
Absolutely.
for people that want to know how they find you, I mean, I'm going to have some links in the show notes, but where can people find you? Where's the best place to find
Yeah,
you?
best place to find me is on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Santa Cruz Medicinals. If you want to find our products, you can just Google Santa Cruz Medicinals. And yeah, that's a good place to find me. I respond to all DMs. Sometimes it takes me a few days, but if you DM me on Instagram, I will get back to you. And if anybody mentions that they heard me on this podcast, I'll offer them 20% off. So just DM me. And yeah, that's the best place to find me.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. So thank you so much for doing that for the listeners. And also, I was going to say too, even on your website, when you sign up for the newsletter, you guys also have sales all the time and
Oh, yeah.
little promo codes and things that you can use. So if you forget to say, oh, I listened to you on the podcast, there's probably going to be a sale going on for the new year or whatever. So just stay tuned for that. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Brendan, for being on. And this was just great. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's do it again.
Be sure to share with a friend, follow and subscribe.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Kiriaki, over and out.